Hello, 3D modeling class. It's week 5. Today, we're talking about clothing and hair for your characters. So hopefully you've got a little bit of a start going on your assignment 1, which is to create a character. And I'll show you a couple different ways to do clothes and hair. We're going to start with the sculpting method, and because it's kind of the simplest way, I think, to create hair and clothes. And then I'll show you a couple other kind of funky ways to do it, depending on your style. So, and additionally, I'll give you a quick 1 hour model this week as well. So you can take a break from your character thing, and we'll do just something a little different, just to kind of get your brain moving. Now, before we start, so the first part here, we're working with a sculpted character. We're creating clothing using masks, and so this is kind of like tight-fitting clothing in general. So you may prefer this, but later I'll show you how you can actually like sew something like around a character. And actually, I'll maybe even show you a third way using the Shrinkwrap modifier. But the Shrinkwrap and the masking are kind of the same way. So hold your applause here when you see my character here. I just like did this super derpy character using like a bunch of spheres, just for the purposes of demonstration, because I realized that I didn't save the horrifying thing that I did last week, and it's for the best. And so I'd rather have something that looks very inhuman to demonstrate, rather than try to make something that looks semi-decent and have it just be terrible. So this is a humanoid character with pretty moderately interesting features here. So, what I've done, and just to kind of refresh, I started with the head, and then created, just I kind of roughed out the shoulders and the arms and stuff, the torso, the legs, and a couple of feet. Again, it looks terrible, I'm definitely aware. And then I joined all of these separate objects together as one, and then I did the remesh. I hit the remesh button here. I did a little bit of dynamic topography, dynotopo, and but I didn't need it because I wasn't doing a terrible amount of sculpting. I could do a little bit more here if we need to. Oh goodness! And actually, I think I maybe just gave away a little bit of what was happening here. Okay, so let's say I've done all my sculpting here. I'm pleased with the shape of my character. I should just undo all that because that's terrible. And I want to add some clothing. Now, the nice thing about this, doing clothing in these methods, is that they can always be changed. We're going to create these as a separate piece, so that if you want, you can have different outfits for your character. So first off, let's say we want to put some pants on this guy. So we're in sculpt mode, and way down at the bottom we've got some of our masking tools here. So box mask is the one we're going to do. So basically what we're selecting here is just a group of, or a section of the mesh here, and creating a mask for it. And there are other things you can do with the mask, but this is the first thing I'll show you. So I have box mask. You also have lasso and line mask, but I'll just do box mask. And it's as easy as you just draw a box. So if I'm making pants, I'm selecting down to his ankles like this, and it turns it gray. And you just kind of gotta wanna make sure that it's selecting the things that you want. If you hold down the control key and select bits of it, you're removing stuff. So you can always kind of undo what you've done, but select the area for pants to begin here. So we've got pants. Okay, so it's colored this part of the mesh gray. Up on the top here, we have a mask menu. And you can see that it's actually grayed out for me right now. mask extract, and it says disable geometry cannot be extracted with Dintopo activated. Okay, that's fine. So I just need to go back to one of my sculpting tools and uncheck the dynamic typography. Then we can go back to the mask menu and say mask extract. Create a new mesh object from the current paint mask. Aha, ding. So you have some options here, but all of these seem fine to me, and I'll hit OK. So now we can see up here in my scene collection, I have a new object, and it's called mesh. So I can rename this and just call it pants. And I also have this here, sphere 004, so we'll call this Nelson. We'll name him Nelson. Okay, pants. So pants is an object. It has this modifier on it. It's kind of called geometry extract solidify, but it's essentially the solidify modifier on here. And so what you can do is so first, just for visibility's sake, I'm going to go to material preview in my viewport shading. And I'm going to add a material onto these pants. So I go down to my material properties, add a new one, and just make this pink, just so we can kind of see the difference. So right now it's actually like exactly they're like on top of each other. They're occupying the same space, which is why it looks a little fuzzy like this. So we need to kind of puff out the pants so it's not just like part of his legs. So we'll go back to the modifiers tab, and you can play with some of these things, but you can pretty easily tell. We've got our mode set to simple here, which is fine. And you can change the thickness, but actually first you should change the offset. And if I hover over the offset, does it tell us exactly? Offset the thickness from the center. So we actually want this to be like a little bit more in the positive direction. And you can see that it starts to kind of fill out a little bit. And your thickness also you can adjust that as well. So you kind of have to be careful. If you go too thick, it's going to like balloon out like this. But that's a nice place to start. And then, of course, what you can do, and we'll rename these pink pants, is you can continue to sculpt these. So maybe you decide that, yeah, I want these pink pants to kind of be a little bigger, a little baggier. Great. And actually, it kind of looks like he's wearing a diaper still, so I'm going to get the smooth out here, make this really big, F key, drag it out. Yeah, just smooth it way down. I don't know. So he's got pants, pink pants. And so the cool thing too is like, I'm going to hide his pants. I'm going to go back to my box mask, and I think I decided that he needs some shorts too. So let's just like grab some shorts like this. Oops, and I think we have to go back into... Does that work? Oh, I didn't have Nelson selected. So you got to select Nelson. You're in sculpt mode. Make sure we're in sculpt mode. Select Nelson. Here we go. Sculpt mode. Aha. So yeah. So the mask is still on here from his pants. You can just go up to mask and you can say clear mask. And now he's ready for some short shorts. Just like that. Or maybe this is a swimsuit. Then you can go back to the mask menu, mask extract, change your settings if you want. You can fiddle with that. It's probably fine. And let's make his swimsuit green. Have a green swimsuit. We'll make it a little like a forest green. Back into the modifiers, change the thickness, change the offset a little bit. There we go. So this mesh is his swimsuit. And yeah, and so then you can switch between the swimsuit and the pants. He's got different outfits. Cool. This guy is goofy. And now you can use the same method with hair. So let's say, how do we want to do this? So let's go back to Nelson. We can select Nelson, then we go to sculpt mode. Let's clear our mask. So we'll go mask menu and clear mask, which is also Alt M. I guess I can do the keyboard shortcut. And if I click and hold on box mask, let's do lasso mask. And my circle is gigantic, but that's fine. So I have lasso mask, and we can, maybe I'll even do like, try to do like a top view like this. And I also realized I did my person sideways. But you can kind of draw a shape around here like this. And I realized that it kind of went all the way through down the back, but we can get the box mask and hold down the control key and just kind of deselect that back half of this like that. Yeah. We don't need hair all the way down there. I don't know, maybe that's a good place to start. It looks a little goofy. But of course we can sculpt and change this a little bit if we need to. So once again, mask, extract. Okay. Puff it out a little bit. Change this. Change the thickness. You know, he's got golden hair. Yeah, cool. Cool, dude. And then we can sculpt a little bit. You can, so like maybe you like, what's a good way to do hair? Snake hook. Let's F, finally turn my brush size down a little bit. We can turn dynamic topology back on. And give him some cool hair like this. Whoops. Is this gonna mess with it though? No. Okay. So once you get back into once you get back out of sculpt, it'll extract this a little bit. So you might have to be careful a little bit. So actually, you know what it maybe is a better method if I undo all this. There we go. What you could do is you can apply this modifier. So that way you're not dealing with like the thickness or kind of dealing with these parameters. So you're kind of locked in, obviously, once you apply it or bake this modifier. You got to be in object mode. So you can either hit apply here or you can go object. Where's apply object? Here it is, apply visual geometry to mesh. And so then this just becomes the mesh. And then you can very easily sculpt this without worry of turning on dynamic topology. So yeah, you can give them some really cool hair, snake hook like this, and it'll just kind of dynamically. Oh yeah. Do whatever you want it to do. You know, you might have a little bit nicer hair than me, but this is what my character's hair looks like. Oh yeah, I pulled too much off of there. Anyway. Okay, cool hair, cool hair. Now, this, you know, how we're setting this up here is that it's rigid. So I'll talk about the armature here in a second. But like the hair, creating the hair this way, like it's like a hat, more like, that just kind of doesn't move with it. So you can, and it's all kind of depending on what your end goal is. If you're animating a character and you want the hair to move, you got a plan for that. And it could just be as simple as like, oh, well, there's a ponytail. You can just create like kind of a simple armature that goes in the ponytail that you kind of wiggle and animate. Or if you want it to like flow, you got a plan for that. Well, it's like, well, I need to have it a separate piece, and and if it's going down the shoulders, I need to account for that. So this is just kind of like step one of like a solid chunk of cheese hair here for this person. All right, I'm trying to decide if I want to show other hair methods first or other clothes methods first. Let's talk about. Well, actually, let me just show you the shrink wrap really fast for clothes, and then we'll continue down the clothes line. Clothing line. It's a joke. I'm gonna name this hair like cheese hair. Cheese hair. Cool. And hide that. Okay. Shrink wrap modifier. All right, so if you wanted to like actually model some clothes, kind of like tailored in a specific way, there's the you can use the following method. So let's object mode. Let's add a cube here in the scene. Let's get an orthographic view, GZ. I'm gonna scale this up a little bit. So I'm gonna actually like make this, like make a shirt kind of around him a little bit here. And let's see. So I'm gonna do my mirror modifier here. So I'm gonna go edit mode, and I'm gonna do, first I'm gonna turn on key and stroke. And open this up, let's go. Let's do Control R, loop cut, please, Control R, there we go. And I'm gonna turn on X-ray select 3 for faces, and I like select box better. Let's delete this, faces. Oops, and I do want X-ray select. Okay, thank you. Delete faces, add modifier, and I want my mirror modifier. And because I did it backwards, I want the Y-axis. Okay. Turn on clipping. I also am right now going to add I'm going to add a subdivision surface modifier right away. And I'm also going to add the Shrinkwrap modifier right away. And I'm going to say Shrinkwrap on Nelson. Okay, and we're going to go material preview like this. And I also should probably add a new material on here. And this is going to be a purple shirt. Okay, great. It's really more of a lavender. Okay. And actually, so we can't really see it on, so remember I'm in render preview so I can see this really on top. And so on my shrink wrap modifier, we're targeting Nelson. I'm going to turn up the offset just a little bit. So you'll be able to see that like as I sculpt this, or not sculpt, but as I model this, we can kind of see the effect that it's going to have on the, whoops, what am I doing here? Undo. It keeps changing I keep undoing it too far. And turning up my offset. Okay, I'm in edit mode. And I lost my train of thought. I'm going to loop cut a couple times here. So we can see the effect that it's having right off the bat. Okay, now I want face select. I'm going to actually extrude. I'm going to turn off X-ray select again here. I can E-extrude up to the shoulder here. And I'm going to E-extrude out this way. So you're starting to see that like you really can kind of actually craft a shirt around here. Scale this out. E-extrude this again, E-extrude again. I probably need a couple of loop cuts this way, just to give it a little more geometry. So this is, you can see that it's actually a little wonky, and it could be the ordering of my modifiers here. So I think I need to just make all of this a little narrower. So if I go SX like this, just bring it in a little close. The thing about shrink wrap is you do want to have it pretty close to where the clothes are actually going to lie. So this does take a little bit more effort. And you do have to be a little more careful with this. And so we definitely need to level up our subdivide a little bit too, because that'll give us a little better representation. Okay, so let me like G move this up over the shoulder. Okay, so now it's actually covering. We just had to make sure that these are kind of all on the outside here. Now we're a little too close to the tummy. Pull this armpit out a little bit. Yeah, because you can see the armpit here is actually inside, so I gotta try to grab this edge in the armpit if I can, and just kind of pull that out a little bit. But you can see that I'm gonna go vertex select here. You can have so a little bit more interesting shapes of clothing and things like that. Yeah, whoops, didn't mean to extrude that. Undo. There we go. G. Just move it out. So you can see I've got like a level 3 subdivide on here. The more you subdivide, obviously, like the more it kind of fills out. You're obviously going to go object mode and shade smooth, and that'll kind of give you a little bit more of what you need. But then you can, like, you might need, what happens if we delete this face here? If we just totally delete it. Delete face. It kind of gets a little goofy. But then you have a little bit more of a defined area for like where the neck hole could be. So this is just another option if you're more into the like modeling type of cloth making. Yeah, if you get this edge 2 for edge select. 2 please for edge select. There we go. Oh, didn't mean to hide that. Alt H. I feel like the G and the H key always being right next to each other is dangerous. If you accidentally hide something, Alt H unhides it. So, you know, like this is a terrible example. So let me just hide that. We'll call this purple shirt. But maybe it makes more sense to do like a mitten. So Shift A, here's, oops, I'm still in edit mode. Back to object mode. Shift A, add a cube. G, put it down here. R, rotate. Oh, I should do orthographic. I should be a good modeler. Then just like I'm gonna 3 for face select and just delete this one here. And let's add our subdivide. Why can I never see it? Subdivision surface here. Crank that up a little bit. And then we'll add a shrink wrap here, shrink wrap modifier, and say shrink wrap onto Nelson. And then it's like, oh, he has a little red mitten. What a sweet guy. Change the offset. There we go. He's got his nice little mitten. And you can even add, so like here's the thing with shrink wrap. So it's still like perfectly flat. So maybe you also add on here a solidify modifier too. You can change the thickness. So say like, yep, it's a thick mitten. So you can really start to add on the modifiers. They start to add up. Mirror it to the other side, and it's probably gonna mess up because I did this guy sideways, so my mirror is gonna not have a good time. Anyway, delete the mirror modifier. Okay, so that's the shrink wrap. And okay, and I'll say this about shrink wrap too. A lot of times when I've seen it done that people that are really serious modelers, so they'll sculpt, they'll sculpt in really high detail. So they'll have lots and lots of polygons, and they'll get like the proportions and everything just the way they want, and they'll have millions of polygons. But then in order to optimize, they do like they do a shrink wrap on top of the model and just kind of and totally redo it. So like for example, if they're going to get the face right. So let's say that this has been sculpted to oblivion. Why is everything I do horrifying? So like there's an eye and there's another eye and here's a nose and there's a smile. See, look, you guys, I can do this. But we turned on dynamic topology and I did simplify like this, and actually I zoomed way in and it made it like really complicated, and there's lots of like little pixels. So if I'll show you the wireframe. So like I got lots, it's like really complicated. So this is probably too much detail for an animation. So then what we can do, or what I've seen some people do. Again, this is like if you're getting fancy and if you're going to be a pro, what they'll do is they'll kind of do like what we just did. They'll take a cube and they will shrink wrap. Well, and cut out the bottom, I guess. Maybe they don't cut out the bottom. I guess it's up to you. So they've got a cube over here. Object mode. Shrink wrap this onto Nelson. And of course we need a subdivide modifier. Will you do it for me? No, I'll do it like this. Subdivision surface. So actually, you have to reorder this. So the subsurface goes before the shrink wrap. And turn this way up. Turn this way up. And, you know, we'll have to see the, we'll need to edit this. So it's going down a little bit too low, but we can, where's my edit mode? Take the bottom here. Take these guys on the bottom. X-ray select. GZ. And basically what happens is they'll go over the face again and just make it nice square polygons again. That's what I've seen people do. You can be totally content just keeping your sculpted thing as sort of your final product, and then you may not even need a shade smooth. But you know, on Nelson, we'll shade smooth you, Nelson. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, final method of creating clothes, and this one's actually kind of cool. It's kind of fun, I think. So let me delete. I don't even know what. Okay, there's our mitten. Sure, we'll keep the mitten. We're gonna delete cube 01 because that's his kind of freaky head. Turn off the mitten. Okay, so method 3 is similar to method 2, but it actually involves physics a little bit. So if you are animating a character, or planning on animating a character with clothes that are kind of flowy, this is how you do it. So clothes that actually like hang. This is actually kind of a pretty baggy shirt, but clothes that hang on your character. And so if there's movement, the clothes will kind of move with it. So we kind of start very similarly. So we're in object mode. I'm gonna create a new cube. I'm gonna GZ move it down like this. And let's get an orthographic view. I'm going to control R. Oh, sorry, edit mode, control R, click, and then right click. And then I've got X-ray select on. I'm going to do 3 for faces, delete the left, delete faces, add modifier, mirror in the Y axis. Please turn on clipping. Okay. Starting the same way. We're just going to model a shirt. So I'm going to E extrude like this. And actually, I'm going to loop cut here like this. And I want to take, oops, I want 3 for face select. I want to E extrude this one out here. And I actually want just this one. Orthographic view, E extrude, R rotate, kind of G, E extrude, G. Let's E extrude one more time. Oops, G. Undo the extrude, G. There we go. Okay. And we actually definitely want all of these to be outside of Nelson. So I'm going to turn off X-ray select so we can just like verify that he indeed is not enveloping any of these faces, because we want it to kind of fit around him. So we get this edge out of here. Oh, I must have double extruded here, team. That's horrifying. Okay, we grab this one. Yeah, okay. Sorry, you just have to deal with my mess here. I want this edge. Bring that out. Bring this edge out. Okay. Bring this edge down. Bring this edge down. Because I don't want to see him poking through at all. Okay. Hee. All right. Now, let's move this one up a little bit. Oh, and we saw his chest sticking out there. Yeah. Okay. This is like a real boxy number here. But that's fine. I think his hand is sticking out a little bit here too. Okay. Now, we got to create just like a couple of cutouts. So let's obviously you want a hole here on the end for the hand. And we want a hole here for the head. Delete faces. Cool. The other thing we'll do, and we want a hole here for that for the rest of your body too. So it's actually like a shirt. Like you got to have holes in the right places. You don't really want to have intersecting things at all. The other thing we'll do is I'm trying to decide. Let's add a subdivision surface modifier. And it is kind of overlapping him a little bit. Actually, take out the subsurface modifier. I kind of want to do like a proof of concept first. Okay. Now what we have to do is we're going to delete all of the faces kind of in between the front and the back here. So I'm going to shift select all of these ones on the bottom and all these ones on the top. Ding, ding. And I'm going to hit the delete key, but we're actually not going to delete faces. We want only faces. So this is like these are like threads. So like imagine your shirt. I'm wearing it just like a regular old t-shirt. But that like along your shoulders here, there's like threads where like the front and the back are sewn together, and then there's threads kind of around the sleeves here. So this is kind of what we're trying to do. So we are going to do a physics simulation here. So this is actually a little bit of a preview because we're going to be talking about this later in the semester as well. But here we have this one. That's like the moon rotating around the Earth. Physics properties. And we want to, let's make sure we're on the right thing here, but this is going to be our shirt. And you want to add cloth, the cloth property. All right, so let's take a look at all of these things here. So here in your cloth physics property, you've actually got a few like presets here. Cotton, denim, leather, rubber, silk, cloth. But the one that we're really looking at here, you can fiddle with these, but just to kind of show you a proof of concept is down here at shape. So twirl up, so you've got damping, internal springs, pressure, lots of stuff here, but the shape is what we're looking at here. And we want to look at sewing. And this says pulls loose edges together. So what we did when we deleted these faces only, we left the edges here. So you can kind of see that there's these lines that go across. And if you check that, let's see, dynamic mesh. Make simulation respect deformations in the base mesh. Let's just leave this as is here. And I need to change my workspace a little bit. I need to add back my general layout workspace. Here we go. Because I need the timeline. If we press the space bar, well, nothing happens. So we actually need a couple other things real quick. So in order for a collision, so the cloth is going to collide with the body. So we need to tell this physics simulation that don't just flow right through the body. We want you to actually collide with it. And so we have to give Nelson a rigid body. So with Nelson selected, we click on the physics simulation again, and we want to click on rigid body. And that's one. And so actually, I think we want passive. No. Is it active or passive? Yeah, it's passive. Okay, I'm unsure of what I was actually recording. So I may be repeating myself, and I don't want to go back and edit this. In order for our cloth to collide with Nelson, we need to give Nelson a rigid body, the rigid body like tag here. So here with Nelson selected, we've got our physics properties here. We want to click on rigid body here. So you can click it again to remove it. We want rigid body, and we don't want active, we want passive. Because if it's active, he'll actually just like fall into oblivion. So we want passive here. Okay, so I was having issues with this, so I'm gonna like start this over super speed, and I'm actually gonna start with a plane this time. So I'm gonna do RY90 because I'm facing the wrong way, and let's just move this in front here and scale this up a little bit. This is maybe a little different method, and I'm gonna G move it here, scale it down, sure. And I'm going to add a mirror modifier here. Whoops, well first let me tab, Control R, cut it in half, and then go 3, and I want X-ray select, grab grab that one, delete faces. Now I'm going to add the mirror modifier, and mirror on the Y, please. Clipping. Okay. And I'm doing a plane rather than a box, just to keep it a little simpler. Okay. Ooh, it's late. It's almost 11. Okay, so let me grab these guys and extrude up here like this. Let me grab these guys and extrude down here. Rotate a little bit. Extrude. Okay, and I'm also gonna like loop cut here just so that we're kind of even. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hit A to select all, and I'm going to subdivide a bunch like this. I'm going to actually subdivide quite a bit. And now I'm going to go to my side view and G kind of move, GX, move it a little closer like this. And then I'm going to E extrude like that. So it's extruding through to the other side. Great. Okay. Now let's turn off X-ray select. And let's go back into edit mode, and let's cut out a couple of pieces here. Let's go 3 for face select. Let's cut out 3 there. And I'm actually going to delete faces here so that it's an actual hole. Same thing on the bottom here. Delete all these faces. And then along the side, aha, couple of snuck through. Let's grab these ones and just G like this, and grab this one and G like that. Okay, and we're safe. Okay, select all these. Hold on the shift key, select all these. Make sure, oh no, I want faces here, guys. Select these faces, please. Faces, there we go. I'm gonna hit the delete key, only faces. Okay, so we've got our threads here. All right, this is, I'll rename this to shirt. Okay, now, V. Sorry, object mode, here we go. Nelson needs to have, on our physics properties, he needs to have a collision modifier, not the rigid body. Sorry, I was mistaken, collision. Because we want the shirt to collide with Nelson. Then on our shirt here, we want cloth. Aha, so you can see that it has fallen down a little bit. I don't know what was going on before, but so this is a physics simulation. So right now, all we have is cloth and rigid body. So if I hit the space bar, you can see that now my shirt is falling, which is kind of what things are happening. Physics is happening, and that's a good thing. But we don't want it to fall. We want it to be stitched up and land on Nelson. So now let me go back. Let's try this again. Shape. I've got the shape tab open here, and I want sewing. Let's just see what this does now. If I press the space bar, aha! Zoop. Yeah, I don't know what was going on before, but we want those extra threads to zip, be sewn on to Nelson here. Okay, so let's pause. Spacebar. So remember, we were playing. We hit the spacebar because it has to do this physics simulation, and it kind of sucks the clothes on to Nelson. So what we may have to do now is adjust a little bit. So like these ones are pretty close to his side. So we may like grab onto this, whoops, do edge select here. And this is actually a good time to turn on proportional editing. So you may go GY like this and kind of use your middle mouse wheel to kind of change the shape of it a little bit. Kind of pull it out. The other thing too, like here, these ones, these edges, let's maybe just grab like these edges here. We can maybe G grab them like this because the sleeves were like pretty loose around his hand, so we may kind of move these ones in a little closer like that so we can see his hand sticking out a little bit. So let's try it again. We'll go back to object mode. We'll go back to frame 1, hit the space bar. We can see it play a little bit. Yeah. I maybe made it a little bit too form-fitting. So here's the other thing that can happen. Just for fun. So I'm gonna go to frame 20. And I'm gonna insert keyframe. Whoops. I'm gonna have Nelson selected. I know this isn't the animation class, but I'm gonna keyframe location here, and then move forward a little bit. G. Oh, I moved forward too far. Go to like frame 60. G, move them a little bit again, and then I. Available. And so I believe now it'll sew it up. And then he'll start to move, and we should maybe also see the cloth move. So this is the reason you would do this. If you wanted, yeah, my computer's going pretty slow. Physics simulations take up a lot of computer resources. But once he starts to move, we should see the shirt kind of wiggle with him a little bit. The shirt's a little bit tight, so I maybe needed to make the shirt a little baggier. But anyway, this is the final method to like sew clothes if you want. Yeah, we don't need to see that anymore. Okay. And a little bit. So there's this shirt. Let me turn off that shirt. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Final thing. Let's talk about hair. Another method for hair, and that is particles. So actually, let me go to render preview and let me just change to the cycles renderer just for fun. Make sure I'm on GPU compute so that, here we go. It's not taking too long. Okay. Let's talk about hair. So let us go. We've got Nelson selected here. Let's go to particle properties. Have we talked about particle properties yet this semester? Let's particle properties tab here. Hit the plus button. Let's add a new particle system. Great. So we can see that there's like some little ball particles on here. Great. Right now we have emitter. So actually this is, and oh, I definitely need to delete these keyframes. We have emitter. So these balls are actually just falling out of Nelson right now. Maybe that's a cool effect that you want, but we actually want hair. So you can see emitter selected here. Select hair. And now there's hair sticking out of him. Okay, it's done. Good job. Just kidding. We can adjust this a little bit. So first thing we can do is we can go to weight paint. Remember weight paint? And you can draw like the area that you want the hair to be on here. Did I talk about weight paint in this class? Maybe I talked about weight paint in the animation class. So with weight paint, you're painting on the vertices. You're painting a value on each vertex on your model. Red is a value of 1 or 100%. Blue is a value of 0 or 0%. And like green is 0.5, so that's like 50%. So what I'm going to do and it's just assigning a numerical value to a vertex. It creates a group of vertexes with values. So we can see actually down here in object data properties, we have this vertex group that was created, and it's just called group. We can rename this, and we'll call this hair zone, maybe. Okay, back to particles. So down here we've got hair selected. Let's look at field weights. So you can, oh no, that's not it. Vertex groups. Down here in vertex groups, you can change the density here of the hair by selecting hair zone. And if I click that, you can see that now all of the hair is just coming out of the area that I painted it. You can also have it affect the length of the kink of the clump or whatever. I think by default it doesn't do a physics simulation. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Now, and you can really just have fun with this. You can look at advanced settings here. Hair dynamics. So like you can have the hair kind of flow with the movement. You can see the hair actually kind of goes kind of crazy here. Does it just like fall with the gravity? Yeah, I don't even know what's happening. Let me turn off hair dynamics. Velocity. Yeah. Rotation. Physics. Here we go. So like we can, I think if I press play here, I probably have way too much. I think I need to turn the density down. Emission. Let's turn the emission down to 100 instead of 1000. Whoops. My computer's chugging. I can hear my fans going. Oh no, not 10,000. Uh-oh. 100. There we go. Okay, that's a more manageable number. All the fans are turning on. Okay. I wonder if you know what I should do is I need to get out of cycles. I think cycles is throwing me off here. Go back to Eevee. Go back to safe spaces. Eevee. Oh, it's because it's still playing. My simulation's still playing. Stop. Okay, here we go. Eevee. Whew. Okay. Okay. Safe. Back to particle. All right, so we can change the hair length a little bit here. You can change the hair segment, so that's kind of like how bendy it is. When we turn on physics, I believe, can I do, let's try this again. It should fall at some point. Maybe you have to have hair dynamics on. All right, so I'm feeling like the complexity of my the high poly count of my model of my character here is kind of messing with this demonstration. So real quick, I'm just gonna see if I can set this up again, just with a regular old sphere. So let me go back to object mode. Let me Shift A, add a UV sphere. And let me just tab, right click, subdivide, just so that it's a little bit more detail. Okay. Okay. Shade smooth. Shade smooth. Okay. Let's add a particle system here. This one, I want to be a hair. Great. Let me change the hair dynamics. Let's go to frame 1. Yeah, so what should happen is the hair just kind of falls down. Yes, yeah, oh man, it's really chugging. Am I still, oh yeah, I'm still in cycles. Let's do Eevee. Here we go. It's still, but you can see the hair just kind of is now falling down. The weight paint still has an effect on it. Let's see. My mission changed the number down dramatically to 125. Yeah, so you can you can play with this. You kind of understand how it works. And also, I'm feeling kind of grumpy and tired because it's late, very late for me. Okay. That's it for hair and clothes. Feel free to get started on adding those to your character. And next week, I'd love to see your progress on that. So yeah, hair, clothing and hair, I'd say probably the easiest way to do it was the ones the first methods I talked about. So creating the mask and, you know, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll link to a couple other other tutorials that people have made about sewing clothes and doing hair with particles. But I think for now your best bets are to use kind of those sculpting methods. Okay, 1 hour. You have a 1 hour model this week. This week your 1 hour model is going to be to model your phone. Hopefully you've got a phone. If not, look up a phone. But what I want you to do is just look at it. Think about how you would get the little buttons. Think about just kind of the little bevels on the edges. But I also want you to just experiment and refresh your memory on materials, because next week we're going to start with materials, or not start, obviously you know about materials, but we're going to start looking at materials a little bit closer and having good materials. So think about what you would do to make it shiny or matte, depending on what kind of phone you have. So your 1 hour model this week is to model a cell phone. So yeah, don't spend more than an hour on it. Just think about kind of the different shapes and how you'd get it going. Anyway, I'm tired. That's it for this week. Continue to work on your characters. We'll Zoom next week, and we will check in on progress on everybody's characters on I believe it's the 26th. And then you'll have one additional week to finish your characters and turn it in for grading. Anyway, that's it. Goodbye.